welcome to Coleman Report Live. I'm Bob Coleman. We're talking Main Street and the small business lenders who help it grow. Delaney Sexton live from Indianapolis. Lance Sexton live from Arkansas. We have you on camera this morning, Delaney. Welcome.
Yeah, we finally got it working. I'm glad everybody can see me now.
We can see you. We all understand she's a little choppy, but her audio is fine. Delaney, let's turn it over to you. What's big news coming out of the trial from your perch so far?
All right, so after the show yesterday, we got to hear the opening statements from the prosecution and all 5 of the defense's attorneys. We've also had time to hear from the first witness, and we have gone through the prosecution and then 3 of the defense's attorneys' cross-examination so far.
And what summarize the government's opening statement?
Well, they said that BankServe claimed to be the expert and that really a lot of the risk fell onto taxpayers' shoulders when it came to a lot of this lending. They refer to it as a slush fund, just a lot of
You okay?
Oh, yes. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Oh, it's back
reason
here.
why
I'm sorry.
The reason why the slush fund came up is SBA actually came up in a lawsuit with Newtek, is they are alleging that BankServe was taking payments and then holding them for a period of time and then forwarding to the lenders, and they were saying that was out of balance significantly, significant 6-figure number. I don't know if that's going to come up in the trial, but that was part of the lawsuit that Newtek alleged against Carey and BankServe. What about the defense? Now set it up for us. You have, first of all, are you in the courtroom?
No, I am still not in the courtroom. I believe just due to COVID mandates and whatnot, they're trying to keep everybody protected. They don't want this to be a mistrial.
Okay. Oh, because interesting. Now, do you
Yes,
have to wear a mask when you go in?
Yes, everybody's wearing masks. Now, in the courtroom, as the attorneys approach the podium or the stand, they're allowed to take it off as long as they are vaccinated. But that's about the extent of people not wearing masks right now.
What about the witnesses? Are the witnesses masked or not?
Yes. Now, we've only seen one witness, but I believe they're going to be masked as well.
Well, that's interesting because part of the jury is you're trying to find out, you're determining the truth of what the person is. Yeah, you don't have that. That's interesting. That's very, very interesting. Okay, so set up. So prosecutor is sitting at the one side. How many prosecuting attorneys are there on their side?
I believe there is 2. There might be 2 and then an assistant, but for the government, that is all I've seen and heard from.
And on the other side, we have 5 defendants. How many attorneys? Do you know?
We have at least 5, and then some of them have 2 attorneys, and again, there's some other assistants as well, so they are definitely locked and loaded.
So where are we in the trial? Let's see, we have Teresa Hendricks. She works for SBA and out of Sacramento, Citrus Heights. What was her testimony?
So far, between all of the different attorneys, including the government, and then Carey, Kelly, and Nicole's, they've definitely been asking about a lot of the regulations, the guidelines. They're building an understanding of how the SBA works, especially for the jury. Now, with that, it's becoming repetitive, but with the defense attorneys, you're starting to see them poke holes a little bit. For example, one of them asked, how many times has the SOP changed within the last 20 years, or whether or not the SOP has changed about 13 times in the last 20 years, which of course the witness had to say yes. Along with that, they're also talking about how the SBA employees, they receive about a week of training and then they're kind of let free. And then lenders and LSPs, the SBA does not provide any training. They don't provide any certification. So they are expecting these lenders and LSPs to gain this knowledge on their own.
they got ahead of the curve, or they got it out front on the email where it said they got us, and they said that was taken out of context.
Yes,
Shed some light on that, please.
In the opening statement, the Kerry's attorney had brought up, so the government attorney had brought up the they got us email, kind of saying, you know, the proof is in the pudding there. And of course, Kerry's attorney says, well, you don't have all of the context. You know, if I sent this email or I saw this email, it could have many different meanings in many different situations. So don't take that at face value.
Lance, what do you think?
Well, I think it's interesting that they're spending a lot of time talking about the SOP because, guys, developing a knowledge of the SOP, as everybody on this call, you've got to get training and you've got to work with the SOP over an extended period of time. And of course, we provide training on the SOP every time a new one comes out, and we offer it multiple times. And I know we're a source of that training, but Bob, to become an expert on the SOP, as you well know, it takes years and years of working with it. And, you know, it is relevant that the SOP changes very frequently. And the rule, and just talking about working capital, we were chatting about that in the beginning. The utilization and documentation related to a working capital draw has changed over the years. It used to be a customer could just call up and say, hey, Lance, I need some working capital, and we'd drop it in their account. Now SBA is asking us to define working capital uses a little more stringently. So, I mean, the SOP has changed, and to be an expert, you need a lot of training and a lot of time with it.
Do you think their argument is making an impression on the jury, Delaney?
You know, it's going quite slow. It's left a little bit of an impression on me, but again, it has been very repetitive. Understanding, again, things like what 7A loans are versus 504, Express, etc. Just a lot of information like that. I think you'd have.
Delaney, where is the government going with this comment here? The witness testified that she would often talk to Nicole Smith on the phone. Now, Nicole Smith is not a defendant, correct? Delaney? Joseph?
I think we lost Delaney. Yeah.
We lost Delaney. We lost Delaney in Indianapolis. Will you guys work and try to get her back? And I'll throw it to Lance then. Lance, what they're arguing, so what they're setting this up, Nicole Smith, and they would discuss eligibility. This would be this Teresa Hendricks from SBA. If the results were not in Nicole's favor, then Teresa would end up hearing from someone else, Carrie Agee and Kelly Isley, who are on trial. What is the defense? What is the prosecution setting up here?
I'm not real sure what they're setting up, Bob, because, you know, it's not uncommon to call the LGPC and ask questions about eligibility, and you may not get someone as skilled as Teresa on the phone, and you may get an answer that you feel is incorrect. And it's not unusual for, you know, if I had an employee that called to get an eligibility question answered and they came back with a response that I knew probably wasn't correct, I might pick up the phone and make the phone call myself. So I'm not sure what the defense is doing with that other than trying to set up a pattern, Bob, of maybe trying to circumvent the SBA's eligibility requirements by having someone higher up. But at SBA, Bob, it never, when I worked at SBA as deputy, it didn't matter to me if the bank CEO called or an assistant vice president called. They were going to get the same answer.
We're going to get this in. Joseph, let's go on the next slide while you're trying to get Delaney back. And I thought this was interesting. Lenders and LSP, CSP would not provide any training or certification. They covered that very quickly. It was their obligation to learn, know about the guidelines outlined in the SOP. But Lance, they still have to pass the bar, which is the signatures on that 1920 that says we certified that these loans were used for eligible purposes. And that's all. And if you sign that and you think it's ineligible, you're committing the wire fraud because it's faxed.
Right.
And that's the bar they have to pass. So how do you do that, Lance?
Well, I think that a couple of things that are relevant here is there again somebody having a perfect knowledge of the SOP is not really possible. You have had to, Bob, I've been studying the SOP for over 30 years now. And there are areas that surprise me at times. But just talking about the changes in the SOP and talking about training, getting good independent training on the SOPs. And I know we provide that here, but not every SBA employee in the country is signing up. Bob, I wish they would, but it's getting adequate training on the SOP side at SBA. I'm not sure.
Hello.
With
I
that.
apologize. My technology got overheated, but I am now out of the sun, and you will be able to hear me. You will not be able to see me.
All right. Well, we'll keep working on this. This is new for us to do this. We were talking, Delaney, about at the end of the day, the defense is going to have to show that when they signed that certificate saying they knew that these loans were eligible, that there were not any problems. That's why the defense is coming out saying, hey, they got us, which is a pretty damning type of statement. They say, well, let's take go ahead, Lance.
I think, Bob, it comes into play. I'd like to know if these loans are PLP. The loans in question.
Delaney, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm still with you.
All right, let's turn it back to you. I want you to tell what happened yesterday with one of the jurors, one of the potential jurors.
Yes, so when they were trying to dwindle down their final selections, the attorneys started asking questions from one juror, and they found out that this was a past BankServe employee who knows every single one of the defendants.
So it is assumed that she is not on the jury. Is that correct?
Absolutely. All parties did not want her on the jury.
Yeah, I know so and so. You've described Kerry's attorney as confident and well-spoken. You like his style. Tell a little bit more about his argument. You said he implied that BankServe and the government had a mutual relationship. Where is he going with that? What's the mutual relationship, and why is that important for this case?
Well, BankServe had quite a big amount of loans constantly going out. And his point was it was mutually beneficial, especially during the recession. Not only is it great for BankServe to have such a high number of loans, but it also is helpful for the economy and for the government to get these loans out more efficiently. So perhaps if things were not perfectly clear, well, they got the loans out, and that's what matters at the end of the day. He also, go ahead.
No, finish up, please.
Oh, he also explained, I think a lot of the defense attorneys are taking a similar approach. Kerry was not fully trained. She started this company just being a lender, and her role advanced so quickly. So she was not necessarily an expert in all aspects.
Well, that's a difficult sell if they pull in one of her customers, because she sold to the customers that they were the experts. So that's an interesting argument, Lance.
Yeah, it's a tough one because LSPs are part of the reason the bank uses an LSP is they're trying to get expertise and knowledge about SBA lending that they don't necessarily have. So, I mean, I don't fall for that, she progressed real quickly and is not necessarily an expert, but there's some things he said.
She was on the board at Nagel. She was one of the highest profile woman in the industry.
Well, but one of the things he brought up, Bob, he said SBA rules and regulations are up for individual interpretation and not always just explicitly easy to understand.
Yes.
I do agree with that. There are a lot of gray areas in the SOP, and guys, when I train, Bob gives me the green light to try to shed light on my interpretation of a particular area of the SOP. So it's there is some merit to what he said about SBA's SOP being up to individuals to interpret.
And then Bob, his comment, another Bob, they advertise themselves as the experts in SBA and the reason a bank should use them. So that's the thing. What's up for this afternoon, Delaney?
We may have lost her again.
Lunch is up this afternoon. Well, we're going to work on it. We apologize for this. As you can tell, this is new for us. We'll work on it a little bit more. But Lance, I enjoy doing this. Is something that's never been done in our little corner of the world. So we're glad to bring this to you. Look, the purpose that we're covering this trial is learn from other people's mistakes and learn what you can and what you can't do. That's why we're doing this. It'll be very interesting to see how this plays out. Delaney, are you back with us? No. Okay. Real quick, Lance, what are you doing tomorrow?
Well, we're going to talk about...
Okay, hello. I am sorry. I am back again.
Okay,
we will work
Delaney.
on this for sure.
Delaney, if you need to take a break, just give us a clue. Okay, real quick, Delaney, what's up for this afternoon?
All right, so we will hopefully be finishing up with this first witness, and I'm hoping to hear a little bit from the second witness that they will call to the stand.
Do we know who that witness is?
Not yet, but I know it could be another SBA employee, it could be a past BankServe employee, or it could be one of the lenders. We are not sure.
Okay, very good. Any chance that they're going to let you into the adults room in the courtroom, or they're going to keep you banished in the basement?
I think I am stuck in the basement for now.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. All right, but the bottom, are you having fun?
Absolutely. It's been a great time. I'm so thankful to be out here.
Okay, well, good. Looks like the weather's fine, and this is when we hired you as an intern a couple months ago. I don't think any of you said, by the way, Delaney, you're going to spend a week in Indianapolis. So, very good. Real quick, thank you, Delaney. We will, I know you'll write up today's thing. We'll do it. We'll send it out for C-Suite Wednesday tomorrow. And Lance, you're doing your webinar tomorrow. Real quick, give me 30 seconds on why you need to sign your staff up.
Well, this is exactly the point. We're talking about a trial where loan disbursements were not done properly. We're going to talk about the 1050 settlement statement, how to properly document disbursements. It's very important to having a compliant SBA loan, and if the guarantee purchase is required, you're going to need to properly document your 1050 and all disbursements.
Thank you for joining us today for Coleman Report Live and for supporting America's Main Street, one entrepreneur at a time.
Have a great afternoon.